My name is Alice Pembroke. I'm 24 years old. 2 weeks ago, right in the middle of a lavish dinner with 6 powerful investors, my stepmother Chloe snatched my phone off the table and slammed it on speaker. "Everyone shut up and listen," she sneered. "Let's all hear who the worthless little maid thinks she's important enough to talk to." My father didn't say a word. My half-brother Bradley and my half-sister Paige burst out laughing with the guests. I never reached for the phone. Then the voice came through, calm and professional. "Good evening, Ms. Alice Pembroke. The board has approved your acquisition, and your grandfather's inheritance is now active." The laughter died instantly. The entire room went dead silent. Before I continue, if this story is already making your blood boil, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely want to hear what happened next. And if you're watching right now, drop a comment telling me where you're from and what time it is there. Now, let me show you exactly what happened in the next 10 seconds. The table froze. Chloe's sneer melted into confusion. My father's wineglass stopped halfway to his mouth. Bradley's laugh cut off mid-sound. Paige covered her mouth, eyes wide. The 6 investors, Mr. Holbrook, Mrs. Sterling, and 4 others whose money kept Pembroke Industries running, went completely still. Lawrence Brennan's voice continued through the speaker, measured and precise. "Ms. Pembroke, shall I send the Tesla manufacturing acquisition documents and board minutes to your primary email, or would you prefer courier delivery?" I'd heard that voice every month for 16 years, in rooms my family never knew existed. Learning things they never taught me, building something they never saw coming. "Email is fine, Lawrence," I said. My voice was steady, calm. "Thank you for confirming." I hung up. The silence lasted maybe 5 seconds. It felt like an hour. Chloe found her voice first. She always did. I don't understand. This is some kind of joke. Alice, what kind of game are you?" "It's not a game," I said. I stood, picked up my phone. The screen still showed Lawrence's contact, Hayes and Morrison Trust Law, senior partner, the firm that had managed my grandfather's estate for 40 years. I walked toward the dining room door. "Alice!" Chloe's voice went shrill. "You get back here right now and explain." I didn't turn around. I opened the door, stepped through, and closed it behind me. The sound of it clicking shut was the most satisfying thing I'd heard in 18 years. Behind me, I could hear them. Chloe's voice rising. My father, trying to calm her. Mr. Holbrook asking Patrick a question I couldn't quite make out. Mrs. Sterling's whisper to someone next to her. I didn't care. I walked upstairs to my room. Not a bedroom. A storage room. 8 feet by 10 feet. Single mattress on the floor. Metal shelf bolted to the wall. One window that didn't open properly. No heating vent. The brass plate on the door still said storage. This had been my home for 15 years. I closed the door, sat on the mattress, opened my laptop. Email from Lawrence, sent 3 minutes ago. Subject line, per your grandfather's instructions. I clicked it. Alice, all is proceeding as planned. Tesla acquisition closed February 28th as scheduled. Inheritance funds released for business purposes per trust provision. Full estate details will be disclosed at board meeting March 15th. Attached, complete correspondence archive, 2008 to 2023. Your grandfather wanted you to have this tonight. LB. I opened the attachment. 194 emails. One for every month. Starting September 2008, when I was 6 years old, and my grandfather returned me to my father's house. Ending November 2023, 2 months before he died. I scrolled through the subject lines. Month 1, Lesson, Observation. Month 24, Lesson, Contract Fundamentals. Month 89, Lesson, Corporate Structure. Month 134. Lesson: Trust Law. Month 178. Lesson: Acquisition Strategy. Month 194. Final lesson: Justice and Mercy. Every single month for 16 years, my grandfather had met with me, not at a library, like I'd told anyone who asked, at his private office, soundproofed, no cameras, complete deniability. He'd taught me everything: business, law, finance, how to read people, how to build power in silence, how to survive until I was strong enough to do more than survive. I opened the last email. Sent November 10th, 2023, 13 days before he died. Alice, if you're reading this, the call has happened. The board knows. Your family knows. Now comes the hard part: deciding who you are when you have all the power. Choose wisely. I love you, grandfather. There was a second email. This one sent today, timed for delivery at 7:15 p.m., right after Lawrence's call. Subject: the hard part. I opened it. Alice, you've survived. You've learned. You've built something they never saw coming. The phone call was scheduled 3 years ago. I knew exactly when Chloe would try to humiliate you, because she's predictable. Thursday dinner parties, first week of each month, investor cultivation. She'd see your phone ring during her performance and she wouldn't be able to resist. But now you face a choice I cannot make for you. The will gives you two paths. Both have a cost. Choose the path that lets you sleep at night, not the one that makes them pay. You're better than they are. Don't become what you hate. The meeting is in 11 days. Everything I built, everything I protected, everything I planned, it all comes down to what you choose on March 15th. I trust you, Alice. I've always trusted you. Arthur. I sat there for a long time. The house was quiet above me. They were probably still in the dining room, trying to figure out what had just happened. Let them wonder. I closed the laptop, lay back on the mattress, stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow they would come for answers. Tomorrow, Chloe would try to regain control. Tomorrow, my father would attempt some version of a conversation. But tonight, for the first time in 18 years, I had all the power, and they had no idea what I was going to do with it. Morning came with a knock on my door. Hard, deliberate. Alice, Chloe's voice. We need to talk. Now. I'd been awake for 2 hours. I'd showered in the basement bathroom, the one the family never used. I'd dressed in jeans and a sweater I'd bought myself 3 years ago with money from consulting work they didn't know I did. I'd answered 14 emails from clients who paid me to analyze their financial reports and never asked my age or saw my face. My hands were steady as I slipped the folder into my bag. I had rehearsed this moment in my head for years, just as grandfather taught me in month 89. Lesson: prepare for every scenario. In Greenwich, where everyone knew everyone else's net worth and family drama, I knew today's conversation would travel faster than the morning train to Manhattan. But for the first time, I wasn't afraid of being seen. I was ready to be heard. I opened the door. Chloe stood there in a silk robe that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Her expression was fury wrapped in the thinnest layer of control. Downstairs, she said. Family meeting, 5 minutes. She didn't wait for an answer, just turned and walked away, expecting me to follow. I did. Not because she ordered it, because I wanted to see their faces. The dining room looked different in daylight. Last night's dinner had been cleared away. The table was empty except for my father, sitting at the head. Bradley and Paige were on one side. An empty chair waited on the other. For me, the maid's chair. I didn't sit in it. I stood near the door. My father looked like he hadn't slept. Alice, please, sit down. We need to discuss. I'll stand. Chloe positioned herself behind Patrick's chair. Power pose, controlling the head of the table even though she wasn't sitting in it. Alice, she started, voice reasonable now, calculated. I think there's been a massive misunderstanding about last night. That phone call. Obviously there's some mix-up with paperwork or… There's no mix-up, I said. Tesla Manufacturing is mine. I bought it in February. The acquisition closed 2 weeks ago. The room went quiet. With what money? Chloe's voice sharpened. I pulled a folder from my bag. I'd prepared this last night. Set it on the table. My money. From the trust fund you tried to steal in 2021. I opened the folder. Inside, 3 documents. Withdrawal requests from First National Bank. $2.1 million. All bearing my signature. Forged signatures. Chloe's handwriting analysis was attached. Bank fraud investigation file, sealed pending complainant decision. Voice recordings of her phone calls to the bank, asking questions about my account, trying to verify access. All dated June 2021. My grandfather had caught it. Documented everything. Never filed charges. He'd been waiting to see what I would do. Chloe's face went pale. You can't prove those are… Lawrence has the originals, I said. Bank statements, audio recordings, IP address logs from your laptop. Try again and it becomes criminal fraud charges. Do you understand? Her hands were shaking. Actually shaking. Patrick finally spoke. Alice, I think we should all take a breath here. There's obviously been some confusion about family finances and… We haven't been a family since I was 6 years old, I said. I looked at him directly, made him meet my eyes. He couldn't hold it. Looked away after 3 seconds. You moved me to that storage room when I was 10, I continued. You stopped saying my name when I was 12. You haven't had a real conversation with me in 8 years. Don't call this a family now. That's not fair, Patrick said quietly. Fair was 18 years ago, I said. This is consequences. Bradley stood up fast enough that his chair scraped against the floor. You think you can just walk in here and… what? Take over? I'm VP of Operations. I've been working at Pembroke Industries since my father gave you a job you didn't earn, I said. With a salary of $185,000 for work you're not qualified to do. I'm qualified. You embezzled $220,000 over 3 years. The room went dead silent. Bradley's face drained of color. How do you… You can't… Q3, 2023, I said. You falsified revenue reports to meet targets Patrick set. Q1, 2024. You transferred $75,000 to your personal account, disguised as vendor payments to Hartwell Consulting, a company that doesn't exist. Q3, 2025, another $62,000. Same method. Should I continue? Bradley just stared at me. I know everything, I said. I've known for years. I was waiting. Patrick's face went slack. The same expression he'd worn for 18 years whenever Chloe raised her voice at me. He had perfected the art of looking away. During holidays, during family photos, during the quiet nights when I ate leftovers in the kitchen while they dined together. I had once believed that silence was his way of surviving Chloe. Now I understood it was simply his choice. In the elite circles of Fairfield County, fathers like Patrick were common, men who traded their daughters' dignity for domestic peace. Today, that choice finally had a price tag. Paige started crying. Real tears this time, not the performative ones she used to get her way. Alice, she said, voice breaking. I never knew you felt like this. I thought we were… You posted family photos every week for 8 years, I said. I wasn't in any of them. You knew exactly what you were doing. That's not… Your engagement to Timothy Ashford will end within a week. His family will hear everything. Paige's crying stopped. Her eyes went wide. You wouldn't. I don't have to, I said. Mrs. Sterling was at dinner last night. She's probably already told half of Greenwich. Timothy's mother will hear about it at the country club by this afternoon. I picked up the folder, put it back in my bag. 11 days, I said. March 15th, my 25th birthday. There's a board meeting at Pembroke Industries headquarters. You'll understand everything then. I turned toward the door. My father's voice stopped me. Alice, please, just tell us what you want. What do we need to do to fix this? I looked back at him. You can't fix 18 years, Dad. You can only live with what you chose. I walked out. Behind me, I heard Chloe's voice rising, demanding answers, making accusations, trying to regain control. It wouldn't work. The power had already shifted. And in 11 days, they would understand exactly how much. I met Lawrence at his office that afternoon. Hayes and Morrison occupied the top 3 floors of a building in downtown Greenwich. Old money, mahogany, and leather. Walls lined with legal texts and photographs of cases won, trusts established, estates managed. Lawrence's office was corner suite, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of Long Island Sound. He was 65, sharp, precise. He'd known me since the day I was born. He'd been in the hospital room when my mother died, bringing me into the world. He stood when I entered. Alice. Lawrence. We sat across from each other at a conference table that had probably seen 100 estate battles. Between us, a sealed envelope. Your grandfather left explicit instructions, Lawrence said. This summary can be opened now. The full will reads March 15th at the board meeting. I know. Do you know what's in it? Some of it, I said. He told me pieces. Over the years. But never the whole picture. Lawrence broke the seal, unfolded 12 pages of legal text. He read the formal parts first. Charitable bequests. $5 million to Greenwich Hospital, $3 million to scholarship fund in my mother's name, $2 million to Pembroke Foundation endowment. Then he got to the part that mattered. To my granddaughter, Alice Catherine Pembroke, I leave the entirety of my personal estate. He listed it. Trust fund, $127 million. Pembroke Industries shares, 34% controlling stake. Primary residence at 847 Birchwood Lane, valued at $8.3 million. The house I'd been living in. The house where I slept in a storage room. My house. You already own it, Alice, Lawrence said quietly. You've owned it since your grandfather died in November 2023. They've been living in your home. I didn't react. I'd suspected this, but hearing it confirmed was different. There's more, Lawrence said. He turned to page 7. However, there is a contingency clause, to be executed at Alice's sole discretion. If Alice Pembroke publicly forgives Patrick Pembroke for his failures as a father and invites him to remain on the Pembroke Industries board in a consulting advisory capacity, an additional trust of $80 million will activate, bringing total inheritance to $207 million. Lawrence paused, looked at me. If Alice removes Patrick from all company positions and severs familial relationship, she receives the base inheritance of $127 million only. So I have to choose, I said. Yes. Forgiveness or justice. Your grandfather's words exactly. I sat back, looked out the window at the Sound, gray water, gray sky, March in Connecticut. What if I choose neither? I asked. There is no neither, Lawrence said. Silence maintains the current structure, which your grandfather didn't build this inheritance to preserve. You must actively choose. The meeting is in 11 days. You'll stand before the board and state your decision. And Patrick? Loses CEO position and controlling shares regardless. The company needs new leadership. The board knows this. But whether he retains any role at all, that's your decision. I thought about my father, 53 years old, weak, conflict avoidant, ruled by guilt over my mother's death, controlled by Chloe for 8 years. Why did my grandfather exclude Bradley and Paige? I asked. They're his grandchildren too. Lawrence had clearly been waiting for this question. Your grandfather documented his reasoning extensively. Bradley and Paige were raised primarily by Chloe during the divorce years, ages 2 through 10. He observed limited genuine bond. More significantly, he documented their participation in your mistreatment. Lawrence pulled out another folder, opened it. Photographs, printed emails, time-stamped videos. He watched everything, Alice. The monthly meetings weren't just training sessions, they were documentation sessions. He recorded Bradley mocking you at family dinners, Paige deliberately excluding you from photos, Chloe intercepting your mail, Patrick looking away every single time. My throat tightened. I didn't let it show on my face. There's more, Lawrence said. He documented Bradley's financial crimes, every falsified report, every unauthorized transfer. He was building a case. Why didn't he do anything? Because it wasn't his case to build, it was yours. Lawrence closed the folder. There's a video message. Your grandfather recorded it 2 months before he died. It's to be played at the board meeting, I've seen it. I can tell you this much. He explains why he set this up as a choice, not a gift. What did he think I'd choose? Lawrence smiled slightly. He told me he didn't know. He said if he knew, it wouldn't be a real test. But he said this: Alice will choose what she can live with, and whatever she chooses, she'll be able to live with it, because she's stronger than all of them. I stood, walked to the window, looked down at Greenwich, old money town, generational wealth, family dynasties built on knowing the right people, marrying the right families, maintaining the right appearances. My grandfather had built Pembroke Industries from nothing, 40 years of work, created something real. And my father was losing it through weakness. Chloe was stealing it through manipulation. Bradley was embezzling it through entitlement. The money doesn't matter, I said. I know, Lawrence said. That's why he left the choice to you. I turned back to him. What happens on March 15th? 10 a.m. Pembroke Industries headquarters, conference room. The board will convene, all 12 members. Your father as current CEO, Chloe, Bradley, and Paige will be present as family. 6 investors who have major stakes, executives who need to understand the transition. 32 people. Yes. And I stand up in front of all of them and choose my father's fate. You stand up in front of all of them and choose your own future. Your father's fate is just a consequence. I picked up my bag. Thank you, Lawrence. Alice, he stood. Whatever you choose, I'll support it. Your grandfather trusted you. So do I. I nodded, walked to the door. One more thing, Lawrence said. I turned back. Your grandfather had a message for you. He told me to tell you this if you seemed uncertain. He said, "Tell Alice that power without wisdom is tyranny, but mercy without justice is surrender. She needs to find the path between them." I left the office. I had 11 days to find that path. 3 days passed. The house was tense. Chloe avoided me. Bradley left for work early and came home late. Paige stopped crying but wouldn't look at me. My father tried twice to talk to me. Both times I told him to wait for March 15th. On March 8th, Bradley made his move. A legal filing arrived at Lawrence's office, copied to me. Notice of will contest, Bradley Pembroke versus estate of Arthur Pembroke. I read it in my storage room. Grounds for contest: undue influence by Alice Pembroke over elderly decedent. Estranged relationship demonstrates lack of genuine familial bond. I texted Lawrence, "Let him try." His response came immediately. Already handled. Meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m., my office. Bring nothing. I have everything we need. The next day, I sat in Lawrence's conference room and watched him destroy my half-brother's case in under 20 minutes. Bradley had brought his lawyer, Jonathan Vance, mid-tier estate attorney. Good enough for wealthy families. Not good enough for this. Lawrence didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Let's discuss minimal contact," he said. He opened his laptop, turned the screen toward Bradley and Vance. Video played. My grandfather's office, September 2008. I was 6 years old, sitting in a leather chair too big for me. Arthur's voice. "Alice, today we're learning the basics of contract law." My voice, small and serious. "What's a contract?" The video continued for 3 minutes. Then Lawrence stopped it. "I have 87 of these," he said. "One for every month, 16 years. Every meeting documented with timestamps and independent witnesses who can verify the dates. Would you like to see more?" Vance's expression changed. We weren't aware of the extent of..." Lawrence opened a banker's box. "While we're examining fitness to inherit, let's discuss Bradley's fitness to remain employed." He slid a folder across the table. Bank statements, transfer records, forged quarterly reports. "June 2023, Lawrence said. "You transferred $62,000 from company vendor account to personal checking, disguised as payment to Hartwell Consulting. There is no Hartwell Consulting." September 2023. "You falsified quarterly revenue reports by $800,000 to meet targets." February 2024. Another $75,000 to personal account. Bradley's face was the color of old paper. Those are company records," Lawrence said. "I serve as corporate counsel. Your signatures are on all of them." Vance stood. "I need to consult with my client privately." They left the room. 20 minutes later, Vance returned alone. "Mr. Pembroke is withdrawing the contest." "Wise," Lawrence said. "I assume he'll also be resigning from Pembroke Industries? We'll need to discuss severance." "There will be no severance. Resignation or termination for cause. His choice." Vance left. Bradley returned 10 minutes later, signed the withdrawal form without meeting anyone's eyes. "Your employment ends March 15th, Lawrence told him. "You have 1 week." As the door closed behind him, a strange calm settled over me. One piece of the machine my grandfather had built was finally falling into place. In the world of old money, where lawsuits and contests were as common as country club memberships, Bradley had just learned that some battles were lost before they even began. Bradley finally looked at me. "Does Alice know about all of this?" "Alice provided half these documents," Lawrence said. "She's been watching you for years." Bradley left. Lawrence turned to me. "One down." I checked my phone. Text from Paige. "We need to talk, please." I deleted it. Text from my father. "Alice, I know you're angry, but can we please?" I deleted that too. Text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Chloe. I'd like to meet. Just the two of us. Le Bernardin? Tomorrow. 1 p.m. Please." I stared at that one for a long moment. Then I texted back. "Fine. 1 hour." Lawrence saw my face. "Don't go alone." "I won't be alone," I said. "I'll be recording." Have you ever watched someone who hurt you realize, too late, that you held all the power they thought they had? Drop a comment if you've ever had that moment. Le Bernardin was where Greenwich old money went to be seen. White tablecloths, crystal. Waiters who knew your preferences before you sat down. Chloe was already at the table when I arrived. Designer suit, perfect hair, practiced smile. She stood when she saw me. "Alice, thank you for coming." I sat. Didn't order anything. Chloe sat across from me, folded her hands. The picture of maternal concern. "I've been doing a lot of reflecting," she said. "About our family. About you. About the choices I've made over the years." My phone was in my purse. recording app running. I realize now that I made mistakes, Chloe continued. When I married your father, I was young. I had my own children to think about. I was protective, maybe overprotective of Bradley and Paige. I see now that I excluded you. That wasn't fair. Her voice was perfect, sincere, rehearsed. I want to make this right, she said. I know about the inheritance, about the choice you have to make. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to choose. We can work together. She leaned forward, dropped her voice to intimate. You keep the money, all of it. Your father stays as CEO. He's good at it, Alice. You know he is. You join the board. Real position, real authority. Bradley and Paige report to you if you want. We run the company as a real family. I said nothing, just watched her perform. I know I can't undo 18 years, Chloe said, but I can give you what you've always wanted, to be part of this family, really part of it. She reached across the table, put her hand over mine. No more storage room, no more being invisible. You'd have your own wing of the house, your own office at headquarters, driver, assistant, everything. Her grip tightened slightly. What do you say, Alice? Can we start over? I looked at her hand on mine, at her perfectly manicured nails, at the diamond bracelet on her wrist that probably cost $40,000. Then I looked at her face. What I've always wanted? I said. Long pause. What I wanted was for my father to defend me once, for you to not call me the help in front of guests, for Bradley and Paige to acknowledge I existed. Chloe's expression shifted slightly, calculating. And you can have all of that now. I wanted those things when I was 10, I said. I'm 24. I want different things now. I pulled my hand away, reached into my bag, put a folder on the table. June 14th, 2021, I said. You called First National Bank. Claimed to be me. Requested withdrawal of $2.1 million from my trust fund. I opened the folder. Forged signatures, 3 documents, bank transcripts, audio files on a flash drive. They asked for verification. You provided these signatures. The bank flagged it. Contacted Lawrence. He contacted my grandfather. Arthur documented everything. I slid the folder toward her. This is criminal fraud, Chloe. Statute of limitations is 5 years. We're at 3 years, 11 months. Her face had gone rigid. That was a misunderstanding. I was trying to help manage. You tried to steal my inheritance. Don't insult me with lies. I stood. Here's what happens next. March 15th, the will reads publicly. You'll hear everything. Every instance of abuse my grandfather documented. 18 years of it. The board will know. The investors will know. Greenwich will know. Chloe stood too, grabbed my wrist. Alice, please, think about your father. He loves you. He always has. If you do this, you'll destroy him. I pulled my wrist free. If you contact me again, I file these documents with the district attorney. If you try to manipulate my father, I file them. If you show up at the board meeting, I file them. I picked up my bag. Stay away from me. I walked out of the restaurant, left her standing there. The recording was 43 minutes long, crystal clear audio. I sent it to Lawrence with a note. Insurance policy. His response. Received. Filed. Protected. 2 days left until my birthday. The night before my 25th birthday, my father came to my room. It was past midnight. I was packing the last of my things, legal documents, laptop, the few possessions I actually cared about. Knock on the door. Alice? I opened it. Patrick stood in the hallway in pajamas and a robe. He looked older than 53. Looked like he hadn't slept in days. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He entered the storage room for the first time in maybe 15 years, looked around at the single mattress, the metal shelf, the law books, the financial reports stacked neatly, the laptop that had been my window to a world where I wasn't invisible. No photos, no decorations, no signs that anyone had lived here for 15 years. "I didn't know it was this bad," he said. "Yes, you did." He flinched. "Can we talk?" I checked my watch. "You have 13 minutes before I'm 25. He sat on the floor. There was no chair. "When your mother died," he started, "I broke. Completely broke. I couldn't look at you without seeing her. Couldn't hold you without remembering what I'd lost. I kept packing. Your grandfather took you because I was useless. And when Chloe and I remarried, I thought I was getting a second chance. A family. Bradley and Paige needed a father. I thought if I could be good enough for them, maybe I could—" He trailed off. "Could what?" I asked. "Forget about me?" "I never forgot about you. You just chose not to see me." Silence. "Your mother died giving birth to you," Patrick said quietly. "That's on me. I got her pregnant. I was selfish. Wanted a child. Didn't think about the risks. She wanted to wait. I pushed." He looked up at me. "How do I look at you without seeing what I took from the world?" I stopped packing, turned to face him. "So you made me pay for your guilt? You let Chloe erase me because it was easier than facing what you felt? I was weak. You're still weak. Weak isn't an excuse. It's a choice." Patrick stood slowly. "You knew about grandfather's meetings, every month for 16 years. You never asked where I went on third Saturdays. I knew. You knew Chloe moved me to this room. You knew she stopped letting me eat with the family. You knew Bradley and Paige treated me like furniture. I thought you were okay. You never complained. You seemed fine." I laughed. No humor in it. "I was 6 when I came here, then 10 when I got this room, then 12 when I stopped eating with you. What was I supposed to do? Beg my father to love me?" Patrick's voice broke. "Tomorrow you'll have a choice. About the inheritance. About me. Lawrence told me what grandfather offered you. If you forgive me, you get 80 million more. If you cut me out, you get less, but you're free of me. The money doesn't matter. Then what does? What matters is, you waited until I had power to care about my answer. What matters is you're here now because you're losing something, not because you want your daughter back." He stepped toward me. "Tell me what you need. What do I have to do?" "I needed you to defend me when I was 10. I needed you to choose me over Chloe when I was 12. I needed you to say my name when I was 16. I met his eyes. "I don't need anything from you now except honesty. Tomorrow, when you have to choose between Chloe and me, who will you choose?" Patrick froze, opened his mouth, closed it. Couldn't answer. "That's what I thought," I said. My watch beeped. Midnight. "I'm 25 now," I said. "Happy birthday to me." Patrick left without another word. I sat alone in the storage room. My room. My prison. My training ground. Tomorrow, everything would change. I was ready. March 15th, 10 a.m. Pembroke Industries headquarters. Top floor. Corner conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Greenwich Harbor. 32 people seated around a massive table, 12 board members in suits, 6 executives with tablets, 8 investors including Mr. Holbrook and Mrs. Sterling. Lawrence at the head of the table, family at a side table, Patrick in his CEO chair, Chloe beside him in designer black, Bradley and Paige trying to look composed. I was the last to arrive. Every eye tracked me as I walked to an empty seat. Not at the family table, at the main board table, between Lawrence and Mr. Holbrook. Lawrence stood. This meeting is called to order. We are here for the formal reading of Arthur James Pembroke's last will and testament. Silence. He read the formal language first. The charitable bequests. 5 million here, 3 million there. The board members nodded. Expected. Then Lawrence got to the part that mattered. To my granddaughter, Alice Catherine Pembroke, I leave the entirety of my personal estate. He listed everything. Trust fund, 127 million. Company shares, 34% controlling stake. House at 847 Birchwood. Pembroke Foundation board seat. Some people in the room already knew. The dinner party investors. Lawrence. A few board members who'd been in Arthur's confidence. Others reacted with shock. Chloe's face went rigid. Patrick stared at the table. Bradley and Paige looked at each other, panic clear. However, Lawrence continued, there is a contingency clause. The room went completely quiet. He read it. The forgiveness option. 80 million more if Alice publicly forgives Patrick and invites him to stay on the board. 207 million total. Or justice. Remove Patrick. Base inheritance only. Freedom. Patrick Pembroke will lose CEO position and controlling shares regardless, Lawrence said. The choice is whether he retains any advisory role at all. A board member raised her hand. Why were Arthur's other grandchildren excluded? Lawrence had clearly anticipated this. Arthur documented his reasoning extensively. Bradley and Paige were raised primarily by their mother during crucial developmental years. He observed limited genuine bond. More significantly, he witnessed and documented their participation in systematic mistreatment of Alice. He didn't elaborate. Didn't need to. Everyone at that dinner party had heard the phone call. They could fill in the blanks. Additionally, Lawrence said, Bradley's financial irregularities at Pembroke Industries disqualify him from inheritance in good conscience. Bradley sank lower in his chair. Arthur left a video message, Lawrence said, to be played now. Lights dimmed, screen lowered from the ceiling. My grandfather appeared, recorded in his office, date stamp, September 15th, 2023. 2 months before he died. He looked directly at the camera. If you're watching this, I'm gone. Alice is 25, and she's about to make the most important choice of her life. His voice filled the room. Strong, clear. The voice I'd heard every month for 16 years. Alice, I've watched you survive 18 years in a house that should have been your home. I've watched your father fail you repeatedly. I've watched Chloe try to erase you. Bradley and Paige treat you like furniture. Chloe's face had gone white. And I've watched you become stronger, smarter, more capable than any of them. Arthur paused, looked down at something off camera. Back up. I didn't intervene because intervention would have taught you dependence. I let you suffer because suffering teaches survival. But I met with you monthly because I wanted you to know. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared. My throat tightened. I didn't let tears fall. The inheritance isn't a reward. It's a tool. Power without wisdom is dangerous. You have both now. But here's what I need you to understand. He leaned toward the camera. How you use power defines you more than having it. I've given you a choice because I want you to think about what justice really means. You can remove your father completely. He deserves it. He failed you in every way that matters. You'd be justified. You'd be right. And you'd have $127 million to build whatever life you want. That's justice. Pause. Or you can forgive him. Not because he deserves it. He doesn't. But because forgiveness isn't about him. It's about you. It's about refusing to let bitterness define your power. If you choose mercy, you get 80 million more. You keep your father in some capacity, and you prove you're better than everyone who hurt you. Long silence. Arthur's eyes seemed to look directly at me. I won't tell you which choice is right, because both are. Justice is right. Mercy is right. What matters is whether you can live with your choice. His voice softened. Patrick is weak. Weakness isn't evil, but it enables evil. Chloe is cruel. Bradley is entitled. Paige is complicit. But Alice, you're none of those things. You survived. You built something they never saw. You became everything I hoped you'd become. His voice caught slightly. I wish I could be there to see what you do next. But I trust you. I've always trusted you. He smiled. Small. Sad. Choose the path that lets you see yourself in the mirror. I love you, granddaughter. The screen went black. The room remained frozen. Mrs. Sterling dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief, while Mr. Holbrook stared at the table, his jaw tight. Several board members exchanged glances, the kind that said they had suspected something was wrong in the Pembroke family for years, but had never dared speak it aloud in this tight-knit Connecticut circle. In the world of generational wealth, public displays of dysfunction were rare and devastating. Today, the carefully maintained facade of the Pembroke name had cracked wide open in front of the exact people whose opinions mattered most. 32 people sat in absolute silence. I could hear Mrs. Sterling crying quietly, Mr. Holbrook wiping his eyes, board members looking uncomfortable. Chloe stared straight ahead, face blank. Patrick had his head in his hands. Bradley wouldn't look up. Paige was sobbing openly. Lawrence turned to me. Ms. Pembroke, the board requires your decision. I stood, walked to the head of the table, didn't sit in Patrick's CEO chair. Stood beside it. Addressed the room. My name is Alice Pembroke. For those who don't know me, I'm Patrick's daughter from his second marriage. My mother, Catherine, died giving birth to me 25 years ago today. My voice was steady. My grandfather raised me until I was 6, then returned me to my father's house. For 18 years I lived there. I slept in a storage room. I ate alone. I was introduced to guests as the girl who helps around the house. I looked at Chloe. My stepmother tried to steal my trust fund in 2021. She forged my signature on bank documents requesting withdrawal of $2.1 million. The bank caught it. My grandfather documented it. I have the evidence. Chloe's expression didn't change, but her hands gripped the armrests of her chair. I looked at Bradley. My half-brother embezzled $220,000 from this company over 3 years. Falsified reports. Transferred funds to personal accounts. I provided the evidence that proved it. Bradley's face was ash. I looked at my father. And my father said nothing. Did nothing. Chose silence for 18 years. Patrick finally looked up at me. My grandfather left me a choice, I said. Forgiveness or justice. $207 million if I forgive. $127 million if I choose accountability. I looked around the room. Both paths are valid. Arthur said so himself. The money is secondary. What matters is who I become when I have power. Deep breath. I choose justice. I'm removing Patrick Pembroke from CEO position and from the board, effective immediately. Gasps. Chloe stood. Patrick's head dropped. But, I said. The room quieted. I'm offering him one chance, not because he deserves it, but because my grandfather wanted me to be better than the people who hurt me. I looked directly at Patrick. Leave Chloe. Acknowledge me publicly as your daughter. Apologize publicly for 18 years of neglect. Do those 3 things and I'll give you a consulting position, $60,000 a year. No board authority, no company decisions, but you'll be part of Pembroke Industries. The room was absolutely silent. You have to choose now, Dad, Chloe or me, the woman who tried to steal from your daughter or the daughter you abandoned. Patrick stood slowly, looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in 18 years. I saw something in his eyes. Regret? Grief? Recognition. For a moment, I thought he might choose me. Then Chloe stood, grabbed his hand. Patrick, don't let her manipulate you. I'm your wife. We built this life together. Don't throw it away for... Patrick looked between us. Me, Chloe. 32 witnesses. His voice came out quiet. Alice. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Long pause. But I can't. Something inside me that I didn't know was still hoping finally broke. I can't leave Chloe. We've been together 8 years. I can't start over. I'm 53. I'm tired. He looked at the floor. I know that makes me a coward. I know you deserved better, but I can't. I nodded slowly. Then it's done. Patrick tried to speak again. Alice, maybe we can... It's done, Dad. You made your choice. Now live with it. Alice chose herself. Not revenge, not reconciliation. Herself. If you've ever had to choose between family and your own peace, you know how hard that is. And how necessary. What would you have done in her position? Lawrence stood. The board will now vote on removing Patrick Pembroke as CEO and accepting Alice Pembroke as majority shareholder. Vote 12-0 in favor. I recommend Catherine Mills as interim CEO, pending Alice's approval. Approved, I said. Patrick stood, walked toward the door, defeated, broken. Chloe followed. Bradley and Paige scrambled after them. At the door, Patrick turned back. Alice, You have until April 15th to clear your office. Standard severance package. Healthcare continues 6 months. After that, you're on your own. He nodded. Left. Chloe shot me one final look. Pure hatred. I didn't flinch. The door closed. Lawrence turned back to the board. One final matter. The residence at 847 Birchwood Lane. As stated in the will, legal ownership transferred to Alice in November 2023. He looked at me. Ms. Pembroke, Chloe, Bradley, and Paige have 30 days to vacate. After April 15th, their presence constitutes trespassing. Board member, and your father? He made his choice. He goes with Chloe. 2 weeks later. I stood in front of 847 Birchwood Lane. 12 rooms, Georgian architecture, pristine lawn, the house where I'd been invisible for 18 years. My house. Inside, empty. Chloe had taken furniture. I'd told her she could. Didn't want their things anyway. I walked through each room. Dining room where the phone call happened. Kitchen where I'd eaten alone for years. Living room where family gathered without me. Upstairs, Bradley's old room. Paige's old room. Master suite Patrick and Chloe had shared. 3 guest rooms. End of the hall? Storage room. 8 by 10. 1 window. No heat. Brass plate still said storage. This had been my world. Now I owned 12 rooms. Could choose any of them. Could sleep anywhere. Be anywhere. I walked back downstairs. Sat on the floor in the empty living room. Opened my laptop. Email from Pembroke Foundation. Welcome, Board Member Pembroke. First meeting, April 1st. Email from Catherine Mills. Looking forward to working with you. Coffee next week to discuss company direction. Email from Lawrence. The house is yours. The company is yours. The future is yours. Arthur would be proud. I'm proud. I closed the laptop, looked around at the empty house. No family, no photos, no voices. Just silence. And for the first time in 18 years, silence didn't feel like erasure. It felt like peace. People ask me if I regret my choice, if I wish I'd taken the mercy path, kept my father, gotten the extra 80 million. The answer is no. I didn't choose revenge. Revenge would have been destroying them completely. Criminal charges against Bradley. Fraud charges against Chloe. Leaking everything to the press. I could have done that. I didn't. I didn't choose reconciliation either. Reconciliation would have been pretending 18 years didn't happen. Letting him stay. Maintaining the lie. I couldn't do that. I chose myself. I chose the path where I could wake up every morning and recognize the person in the mirror. Where I could live with my decisions. Where I wasn't defined by their failures or my bitterness. That's worth more than $80 million. That's worth more than a father who only wanted me when I had power. My grandfather taught me that power isn't about control, it's about choice. I survived. I learned. I built something they never saw coming. And when the moment came, I chose who I wanted to be. The house is mine now. All 12 rooms. I'm having it renovated. The storage room is being converted into a library, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, reading chair by the window, a place where knowledge is kept, not people. Pembroke Industries is thriving under Catherine's leadership. The board meetings are productive. The company is growing. I see Lawrence twice a month. We have coffee and discuss trust management, foundation work, investment strategy. I never see my father. He and Chloe moved to a condo in Stamford. Bradley got a job at a competitor, making half what he made before. Paige's engagement ended, just like I knew it would. Sometimes I think about what might have happened if my father had chosen me that day. If he'd walked away from Chloe, acknowledged me, apologized. Would I have given him the consulting position? Would we have rebuilt something? I don't know. I'll never know. Because he made his choice. And I made mine. My grandfather was right. Both paths were valid. Justice and mercy. Accountability and forgiveness. I found the path between them. I held them accountable, but I didn't destroy them. I removed the people who hurt me from my life, but I didn't become consumed by hurting them back. I chose myself. And that choice, that power to choose who I wanted to be, when I finally had the ability to be anything, that's the inheritance that really mattered. Not the money, not the company, not the house. The power to choose myself. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been told you should be grateful for the bare minimum, if you've ever had to choose between proximity to people who hurt you and peace with yourself, I hope you know this. You don't owe anyone your dignity. You don't owe anyone forgiveness they haven't earned. You don't owe anyone a relationship just because you share blood. You owe yourself the truth, the power to choose, the freedom to walk away. My name is Alice Pembroke. I'm 25 years old, and I'm finally free.